Okay, I'm going to try and build a really nice preset right now. So I'm going to just start from completely scratch, and what we're going to do to start off with is I'm going to make sure that I'm using the full power of the HELIX. So I'm going to turn this output here down to path 2A. I'm going to start building the preset down here because I've got some ideas about what I want to do. So first of all, I'm going to start off with, I think, the Matchless DC30 channel 1, and what I'm going to put at the end here will be a dual cab, and we're going to do it in this kind of way. I think this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use the 57 dynamic 1 inch away, early reflections up to around 30. This is the room kind of sound, and then the other cab be the other side of a Matchless cabinet. And so then what I'm thinking is this will preserve stereo-ness here. That's why I'm using a dual cab, so I don't necessarily have to use 2 cab blocks or anything. I can just use a dual cab, and in that way I can put stereo input this side of it and it won't collapse to mono. Now I'm also thinking that I'm going to have the cab almost last in the chain, if not last in the chain. So basically we get I'm going to program a high cut here to this switch, I think. So high cut, yeah, we press here, controller, I think this is about foot switch 5, so the minimum value 3.5, and then I also need to come across to the second cab and do the same, foot switch 5. Right, so now we can press so I would leave this high cut on generally just because, I don't know, it seems to be what people like. I think actually the upper limit of it I would set to 8 kilohertz, which is like the default. What I also want to do is add another amp, because we can. Something that's going to work nicely here, I think, might be the top boost model as well. So we'll move this down here, move the split in front of the amps, and move the join in front of the cab. And I'm going to pan A fully left, B fully right, and we get this now. I mean, already I'm quite enjoying that, and that doesn't have any reverb or anything on it, so that's kind of cool. The reverb I'm going to put after here, because unless the other option, so let me just clear that, we could even, I think, put the reverb, mono reverb, ahead of the amp, but doesn't seem like that's going to give us much more usability anyway. So let me just, what happens if we put mono plate up here? So I'm going to assign that to here. How's that going to sound? I don't generally like to put reverbs ahead of the amp, because if you then use more amp gain, as I like to do, you then kind of get a muddier reverb. As the reverb gets compressed by the amp, and as you get more amp gain, the difference between the reverb and your actual signal gets pushed, so that basically you just end up with a very reverby sound. No, is this cab actually collapsing things to mono? And would I have a bigger stereo sound without that? Maybe, let me... Maybe I need like a more obviously different tone. If I put like... I'm really liking that in terms of touch responsiveness actually, so you take that channel volume down slightly. One way to kind of monitor the balance between your amps is using this output here, so then if I go back to amp, still my Deluxe is a little bit more... Okay, so I should have just left it where it was. Okay, so I'm going to reassign this thing here, high cut. I like the idea of having all of the things that you're changing being fairly obvious on the pedal board if it's this style of thing. You can literally write, like it's a bright switch effectively, isn't it? Especially for like gigging presets, because in the past, and still at the moment, some of my things are kind of hidden within snapshot changes, so it's not always that easy to go and make amendments to them. Right, so relatively simple. I think I want that really to be stereo so that I'm not collapsing things ahead of it. And then I can put a delay up in front. So stereo, use the Elephant Man, time 500 millisecond, chorus mode, let's use vibrato mode. The mix I'm going to bring way down because we're in front of the amp again. Scale I'm going to take down to about 77. Headroom I'm going to bring up, just in case I put a drive in front of this. Trails I'm going to turn on, and I want to assign to this. Okay, and then the mix bring up to maybe 20. Okay, now I'm going to bring in a couple of drives maybe up front as well. I think hopefully you'll see there's going to be quite a lot of spare space that we could add other stuff, or you could as you want to. I'm thinking Strooper OD, I think. This is going to have a fair amount of bass to it. And we'll sign over here. And are we in? I'm going to turn this into our low cut mode, and then hopefully we'll get maybe I even take this tone down a smidge. Okay, and then what I might also do is set up a snapshot here, and what I'm going to do is bring in a bit more drive, so this can go up to about 3 point, no, let's take this up to 4, and let's take this one up to 6 maybe. So we go from 4.5 to 6, and we go from 2.6 to 4, so then what we get hopefully and then even more, so up to 5.5, sorry, and then up to 7.5. So we're kind of stepping the gain up as we go in snapshots. And we also get a bit of a boost with the wet effects, right? So I'm going to just take the mix down a little bit. And you could adjust this to taste, obviously. But then I think I could also add maybe like a tremolo in here. Put this in mono. Skipped it obviously. Speed, intensity, take those down a smidge, and I'll put this one on this switch down here. We want it off to start with. So here's a thing I learned from Steve Stelacci. If we copy the block, clear the block, you see it's now bypassed, so it then can just be an option in each snapshot, so I don't have to have it turned on each time. Bit of a shortcut. Cheers for that, Steve. So yeah, now I've got but I don't think what I might do is turn off snapshot bypass. So then if I change, when I change then my Snapshot, it's leaving on the things if I've got them on, so then the snapshots are just going to be these gain boosts and not actually affecting the bypass state of the other pedals. So we've got like more of a pedal board kind of vibe. Okay, let's just save that. So that's that preset build. That's what you heard in the intro. It's kind of like a nice channel switching, small pedal board kind of vibe. I'll catch you in another video soon. Let me know if you want me to drop this into the folder. What should we call it? Vox Deluxe, I guess. Of course, you could do this sort of thing on basically any modeler, particularly like the Quad Cortex. You could try this, or the Axe effects. So if you thought, yeah, that could actually work, just look at what the key elements of the tone were. You'll be able to copy them and probably replicate this in basically any modeler, Hotone Ampero as well. But you know, let me know if you thought that sounded any good. I'll catch you in another video soon. Cheers.